And Are You Okay is a not safe for work podcast, so any young listeners are discouraged from continuing. However, we literally have no way to track that, so do whatever the hell you want and enjoy the show.
Like, you know me, I'm usually burn candles at birth and still my fingers hurt, but I am fucking exhausted.
yeah. Like, we're busy people, but it just feels like lately it's been like everything's been full force. So yeah. I'm trying to catch up.
Pun intended.
Full force.
Full force. I see what you did there.
It feels like I'm counting into things.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sit right down. I got a lot of bad puns. It don't matter.
Bow.
We're gonna do
Awakens.
The damn thing on Annie. Are you okay? It is.
She better not be a Jedi.
Star Wars podcast.
Please don't.
Matt has got a big problem
bow.
with this episode. That is okay. We'll talk about it right now.
You dig it?
It is great to be here with you, Matt. Even though we're exhausted, we do what we can. Talking all things Star Wars on And Are You Okay? A not safe for work take on your
Star Wars podcast.
Favorite galaxy. Or far away. That wasn't a delay, just me thinking through my thoughts. But I am Mikey.
I saw it happening in real time.
I am Mikey, your host, the human holocron, Darth Plagueis the Wise himself.
Darth Plagueis the Wise himself.
With my counterpart, Broby-Wan Kenobi,
what up,
the
Steve?
Mace Wind dude.
Check that.
He is the main member of the Grey Hoodie Gang. The Rogue One, the Rogue Only. Matthew Porter, you checked in?
Checked in. I'm checked in, brother. I'm checked in. Go Phils. It's not going too well. But go Phils.
I turned it on and I was like, this is okay. And then things started happening. I said, maybe I'm bad luck. So I turned it off.
Bro, that's that we've talked about this many times. However it is that I catch it in its ignition to my existence, I have to stay that way. So if I'm watching it, I gotta stay it. If I'm just getting the alerts, I can't turn the game on. If I'm watching it on the radio, I cannot then put it on the TV.
Have to
I gotta
stay where you're at. Yeah,
because I feel like as soon as I switch platforms, dingers,
right.
And now it's 9. Now it's 9-3.
Like, yeah, not ideal. I think that I do the same thing as you. I will genuinely scoreboard watch most things in the regular season for baseball because it just feels like it's always happening at times that I'm just not able to watch.
162
and I think
so it's a trek.
I genuinely believe that I listen to more games than I watch, just out of like if I'm driving around, whatever. Either way, hopeful that the season turns around because it's not off to the hottest start, but that's why it's 162 games, right?
Yeah, and you know, the past couple of years where we've had great success, we start off slow. This is kind of I know a lot of baseball purists are going to probably bash me who might listen to this, and this obviously isn't going to be a sports podcast, but I don't give no fucks about the division title, bro. Like, go win the pennant. Like, I don't care. I don't care if we got to get in through the wild card every year because it's like there's that rest versus rust like debate, and I'm kind of. Especially because the Phillies are very streaky. I'm like, look, we don't need that week off because we gonna come cold as shit in the
we
playoffs.
Always just ride hot. Like that's just it's always the most fun when it's the underdog story. And if we're not going in as the division like champs, that's fine. We'll come.
You know what's funny? You know what's super funny? And it doesn't matter. To make this relevant to a Star Wars conversation like the riding hot, it is hilarious that for the past 3-4 years. Like that has kind of been the Phillies brand of baseball is the underdog story. But in the past 3 years, we've either made it to the World Series and or the championship round. So it's like, are we really the underdogs? It's like, oh no, we're so beat
at this point.
Don't punch down on us. Win.
It's just like
you know what it is. We're underdogs in the regular season.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like,
just like the bad,
just like Luke Skywalker. Just like Luke Skywalker. He's just like, oh, the everyman. Like, no, motherfucker, you're the best Jedi ever, dog. Get out of here. You're not out here doing it for the middle class citizens of the galaxy.
Yeah. The real people flying under the radar is the Bad Batch, the best show you're not watching. But if you are watching, you're tuning into this to hear our recap for the episode this week. We got the return. I'll drop a spoiler warning here. I think if you've been paying attention, watching trailers, etc., then you're aware that fan favorite character, holding Asajj Ventress.
Wait for it.
We'll give him a chance to fumble their phone out of their pockets to pause. But yeah, she was back, and I know Matt has a lot of thoughts, so we'll get into it. Before we do, I'm going to hyper dive right into things. I'll hit you with that recap. Alright. Crosshair begins to assimilate to island life on Pabu as the Batch waits around for intel. Meanwhile, due to Batcher's exploration, Omega uncovers a hidden ship and its shadowy pilot. The shadowy figure reveals herself to Omega, and it's none other than the thought to be dead Asajj Ventress. The Batch follow Batcher to the cave where Asajj is parked. Ventress tells the Batch about M-Count. When they divulge the reason behind their need for answers surrounding it, Omega agrees to some tests to determine whether she is force sensitive or not, and Asajj reluctantly agrees. I guess that is what happens. during the series test.
Sounds good.
During the series test, the Batch research Asajj and realize who she is, or who she really is, assuming that her assassin ways are not behind her, and conclude she's a threat. While Omega is off during a test, Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair confront Asajj and fail to subdue her. Omega arrives as their fight is ending, and despite their differences, Ventress points out to them they were all pawns in the same war, but that she has changed. Omega talks to her brothers about giving Asajj a chance. They agree to trust their sister. The next day, Omega meets Asajj down by the harbor, and they take a boat out to sea for another test. Omega struggles to connect with the ocean life, but when Ventress gives an example of connecting, she unknowingly awakens a large beast beneath the water. Don't go near the water. Pushing Omega into peril, Asajj saves her while the Batch spring into action to help them. Asajj is able to calm the beast, and the Batch help Omega and Asajj out of the water. Ventress lies to Omega, telling her she does not have a high M count. Outside her presence, the Batch confront her, and Asajj tells them that she would need to be trained if she wanted to utilize that power, and that they need to do a better job of hiding, and they're not as safe as they think. Ultimately, Ventress departs into the increasingly dangerous galaxy that awaits our protagonists. This was, it was kind of a weird one, and by weird, I don't mean like, it wasn't bad. I just wasn't expecting it to be like this.
That is a very good explanation. I'm saying, outside of my one glaring gripe that we'll get into, obviously, I did like the episode, but just like what you just said, it was like there's a difference between like circumventing our expectations, which we always talk about, that we do like that, versus like, that's not what I expected.
and maybe that's on me for assuming we were going to get some answers about her return, or maybe that her return was going to have.
That's not an assumption. They said that they make the explanation of how she's still alive does make sense within the canon.
Right.
Like, maybe we just didn't get it. Maybe she comes back.
I guess like it was interesting to see that she's the contact of Fennec. She did work as a bounty hunter, so that makes sense. And I feel like she came into everything here not as an exposition dump for the audience, because we've known what M-Count is. I think any viewer who's watching The Bad Batch likely has seen some other Star Wars story and is aware of the fact that M-Count is midichlorians. But it was kind of like a self-discovery for Omega, which I think makes it obviously one of those bigger episodes from like a plot standpoint. Like, this is a really important one. It wasn't super action-packed, although the action beats were very good, and we got maybe one of the best animated fist fights like I've ever seen. So I guess, Matt, why don't we start with like your big gripe, and then maybe we'll spend the entire episode talking either about why it's a problem, and maybe ways that you can come to accept this, and how
for sure. Yeah, I will say I did really like, and I don't know if this was intentional. I feel like it was, because it seemed very deliberate. I believe she only used the word midichlorians one time, and I kind of like how they are. She might not have, but I thought she did. I thought when she was when they were having the initial conversation and they were talking about M count, I know she was referring to it as M count, and then I thought she said like, "Oh, M count is like everyone has midichlorians in their blood." I thought she used the word.
They've like been actively avoiding the word for some reason, as if like they think it's gonna set off a bunch of fans, as if fans aren't always rabid. Like that section of the fan base that doesn't like that word are the same people who like can't handle the fact that there's female and people of color like being a protagonist in the show. So that's fucking stupid. But I will say I don't hold the same negative connotation to the word midichlorians, but I will say it is funny how they do actively avoid that to just be like, hey, we don't always have to rely on Skywalker shit, but then you do the thing that I'm scared that they're gonna do, and you bring in a Force sensitive kid into the series. Yeah. Like, the Sabine running me again, and I don't like it. But I will, before we get into that, I will say this is Crosshair season, bro. Yeah,
like I know, like they maximize his screen time, and even like with him being a very stoic, doesn't speak much character, everything he says is just in one line. I feel like I get so much of what he's trying to say. Like when they were having the conversation about the Empire and like, you know, bounty hunters coming after her, and Crosshair was just like, why? It's not like we're turning her over.
Yeah.
Like why does it matter? Why does any of this matter? We're not willingly letting her go anyway.
Yeah.
So like all this is us trying to plan on it and get info and prep. Like we're not turning her over. What the fuck?
Yeah, like,
who cares?
What does he say? He's like, when have we ever waited for information? Like as if like there's something that too.
Yeah.
And he's right. Like that's just not how they operate.
Like all his lines. Yeah, all his lines like are very powerfully delivered, and like I said, he says so much by saying so little, and I quite enjoy it. And once again, it's hard for me to believe that they're not in. It seems very breadcrumb trail of how much Crosshair cares for Omega. Like at this point, I've kind of just like, the same way that you kind of looked at Hunter in season 1, like, oh, that's her protector. Like, that's the person like who's after her. It's not that same like protector child. Like we said this last two episodes ago, I do feel like their relationship is built off a place like of mutual respect for each other and understanding, because like he allows her to like, hey, like you're part of the batch. Like you're not a batch with a kid and 2 men and a baby, like 5 men and a baby. Like you're one of us. So it's just like, I just love how even the whole interaction with Asajj being here, like Wrecker's Wrecker, Hunter was like, you know, cautious, but it really seemed like Crosshair was just like, yeah, don't do no funny shit, Asajj. I'll fuck shit up for this girl, yo. But I really do like it a lot. But to go back to my main gripe is they're doing the thing again. It would appear that we've constantly talked about with shows like Andor and The Bad Batch up until this past Wednesday. There is this really awesome pocket of Star Wars content that don't got shit to do with the Jedi. That's really awesome, because we've said for 9 movies, Star Wars has never really focused on like what the rest of the galaxy does or how they're affected by the Empire or the First Order or even the Jedi Order. It just kind of is like this vacuum chamber of everything is hyperbolic and is just focused around what goes on light side, dark side. Light side, dark side. But stuff like Andor and Bad Batch, even though we got Grogu and stuff in Mando and Book of Boba Fett, and there is like direct Star Wars, not even Star Wars references. There's a whole Skywalker in them bitches,
Sure
but for the most part, it's just like through Din or Boba's like, you know, antics, you do get to see the rest of the galaxy at large and how other people are affected and, you know, having to commit to crime because the Empire's been downtrodden on it, or like how they navigate this, or the people, or even with Andor, which we talked about before, which we really liked, and they kind of showed it with Wolf in 2 episodes ago, like the people who just like aren't aware of what's going on because there's so much Empire propaganda. It's like, oh, these guys are evil? Well, that's crazy. like I didn't even realize. Like, I'm so far away from it. This is kind of like, you know, how often are we as real people immediately impacted by politics? Like, unless it like affects like our lives specifically, it's kind of business as usual. Like, oh, it's been 4 years, let me go vote. Things like that or whatnot. But to bring it back in, I really don't want Omega to be my argument is kind of like the Sabine thing. I don't mind her being force sensitive, because we said that with Ahsoka. Like, I'm totally fine with her having a connection to the force. I don't need her force pulling and pushing. Even like her lightsaber combat was very just like, oh, because I'm a Mandalorian and battling is what I do. Like, it's not necessarily through the mystic arts of the Jedi. And we know that Omega has a high midichlorian count because that's the whole point of all of this, like, or whatnot. But I didn't feel like that those things needed to be connected. Like, I kind of liked that, even though we know Asajj lied, I kind of liked the idea of like, oh yeah, she has a high midichlorian count, which makes her like a viable candidate for the Project Necromancer. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she has to like know how to use the Force or even be able to. Yeah. But it seems that they're going that route, and I don't like it. I like the Bad Batch because they're a ragtag group of Island of Misfit toys that isn't necessarily tied to what's going on with the Jedis and the Sith and whatnot. The one I was saying before, and I kind of want to get your take on it. The only way that I will be okay with Omega, maybe not even using what is there a term for someone who's like, I guess I know gray Jedi is a term that kind of is like canonized. Is there a term like the blind guy from Rogue One, like not a Jedi, can use the Force? Like, what are those people called?
I think that like technically, and Gray Jedi isn't quite canonized like that. I think the way people understand.
Yeah, I know like we kind of did it, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's not.
I think Gray Jedi is like works is that like they can tap into like Sith and Jedi like stuff, and they can like they get the best of both worlds and the bad of nothing. Whereas like there's a gray area that some Force users operate in, like Ahsoka, right? Where it's like she's not a Jedi.
That's how I like Qui-Gon I would consider as like a poster child for a great Jedi. Like, he's a Jedi, he's on the light side, but he knows like, hey, sometimes you gotta break a couple eggs to make an omelet.
Right. Yeah. So in the term in the way of like, we're not talking like video game, like you've balanced your character to be able to use all the Force powers.
Oh yeah, no.
We're talking like they operate in an area where they're not tied to the dogmatic view of like
they don't have an maybe to either way.
Yeah. So and I would say
so I guess I lied. I guess it would be
area, two, right? And maybe leans a little darker.
The delay.
Yeah, it leans a little darker. Tarut leans lighter, but he's never been trained by the Jedi. But the Force certainly like flows through him. Maz Kanata is another one. We know that the Force, she's connected to the Force, and there's deleted scenes from The Force Awakens where she like pulls some stuff down or holds some rocks up when her castle's collapsing. So it's like, yeah, there are people out there who have tapped into the Force that don't subscribe to the religion that is the Jedi. And I think that the more characters like that get introduced, the better. And I think that, I guess I'm actually going to ask you a question because I'm kind of like piggybacking on your point here. I totally understand your frustration with feeling like we're just like kind of going back to the well of like, oh, we have to be following a Force sensitive person. Would you be okay if the Bad Batch story ultimately ended, though, with, okay, Omega is not a Force user for this story, but on some, like, epilogue type shit, when we see what's going to be next for her, we find out that she goes off to train. Is that something that you'd be okay with, or do you think that would ruin it for you?
Funnily enough, that what you said is kind of in line with the only one way I would like this. And I guess we kind of talked through it'd be two ways. Like, I'd be totally fine with Omega being like a Maz Kanata type character. Like, you know what really, I want to answer your question really quick. You know what I really think, like, my big ick about this, like, this whole style of thing is just, like, outside of those couple of characters, and the size doesn't count with what I'm about to say, I don't like how ultimately Star Wars makes Force sensitive people use lightsabers. Because it's like, I feel like the lightsaber just automatically puts the fans in a headspace like, oh, Jedi shit. Like, Jedi
Fair
shit.
enough.
Jedi shit. As opposed to someone like Finn, who he ended up Force sensitive. Never mind. I was gonna say, as opposed to someone like Finn, at least in the first movie in Force Awakens, he was just a soldier who happened to pick up a lightsaber. He's like, all right, fuck, I gotta fight. Let me use this. I have a weapon. I don't like how everybody who has the Force, like, has to have the lightsaber as their weapon of choice. Cause I'm just like, bro, why? Like, it's like, just let her be like with Sabine. Just let her. I was fine with the Darksaber. I get why she would have a lightsaber. Cause, like, that makes sense storyline wise. She was around Jedi.
She trained with the Darksaber.
Trained with the Darksaber. So it's just like, if Omega does train to tap into it and opts to not use a lightsaber and, like, to show affiliation or side affiliation, I'll be okay with that. Just like you said, like, the deleted scene was with Maz. She was, pulling cups, holding up rocks and things like that, but no lightsaber in sight. Didn't need that. And Omega's already a trained fighter. Like, she's a shooter. She's good with the crossbow. Got the bolt blaster now. Shit, I'd be cool if she did a blast and force moved the bullet. That'd be cool. Like a cross. Really cool. I think that'd be cool. Yeah. Something cool to see. But so if she does not get a lightsaber at any point in time, but still trains and, like, hones her craft, I'll be fine with that. Or, to what you just said, if Omega goes off, maybe epilogue, maybe end of it, and trains, and maybe because she's still on the run and changes her name and happens to be somebody who's been in Star Wars this whole time, I would be cool with that. Like, if she, like, changes her name to maybe, like, someone that we know, like, maybe not necessarily like a big giant name, but someone who's, like, in the Star Wars universe that we've seen before, maybe someone under a mask. I don't have a person in my head that I would like her to be, but, like, if she, like, does escape and get to, like, live a slice of life and changes her name, and maybe it's a name that we've heard before, and that would explain, like, oh, she didn't just disappear off the map. We knew about her ongoings. We just didn't know who it was. Kind of like, oh, shit, she's been here the whole time under our nose. I wouldn't be mad at that. Like, change their hair color, whole new identity, and, like, maybe they make her a female character that's been around, if that makes sense.
I hear what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying?
Almost like a retcon. Yeah.
Like giving, like, a cool character that everybody likes that doesn't really have a backstory that could be like, oh shit, so this is where she went. Because, we're, like we've said, they're in that really tricky stage right now where they've essentially caught up to everything that was done before, and they gotta start explaining why some of these heavy hitters weren't helping.
Yeah.
Like, where was you at when the First Order started? Like, why didn't you help take down Kylo Ren? Like, things of that nature. So I'd be okay with those two ways. Are the only two ways I'd like it. If she does get trained and doesn't pick up a lightsaber and just kind of just still be, I mean, she can become an assassin if the batch doesn't make it through and they sacrifice herself so she can live her life, or her and Crosshair and Batcher, which is what I'm hoping for. I want that to be her ending. If they go off and do that, and, like I said, they can explain where she's been or what they've been doing or how she's going to come back into the story, and, or, like I said, if Omega actually ends up being the origin story for an existing character that's already in Star Wars, I'd be okay with that. Even if that existing character does end up with a lightsaber in their hand, because then it's just like, oh, like, my recollection of you has always been,
I don't even
that you've been,
who would
Yeah, I don't know who it would be.
At
Like,
this
I
point in
legit
the
don't have.
timeline,
Like,
she, like, it wouldn't be her helping with Kylo Ren. It would be her helping the rebellion, right? Like, that's how young she is at this point in the timeline. So,
right, yeah, it would be a sequel trilogy character. I would have.
well, I think it would be. It would have to be
Or would she be really
original
old?
trilogy. She'd be pretty old at that point.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. True.
So I think because remember,
I'd be
she's
cool with that. Like, if she ended up being if she ends up being like a resistance fighter, and they could be like, oh yeah, she was part of Mon Mothma's direct whatever, like, and she's just been under her helmet the whole time. Like, if they did something like that, where it shows
or something
her,
like that,
like something like that, where it like shows who she's been with, and like, oh, she's just been a background player because she's had to like stay under the radar, but like, so she's been floating around, things like that or whatnot. Like,
I think the one thing that and I think you're probably going to be happy that I bring this up, but the one place where I feel like a lot of these characters that disappear in this time period,
Cal Kestis,
Tanalorr. If Tanalorr becomes that safe haven where the path that ultimately leads there to keep all of these force sensitive people safe, and there's like this like enclave of like force sensitive people that have quote unquote left the galaxy for their protection, kind of like a witness protection, but like in the Star Wars universe, like that is a way that they start explaining some of these things away, and we get it reintroduced to like characters that we've known, but just in different time frames because of what they've discovered in the Jedi games. That to me would be really rewarding as someone who's not only felt like, I think when Disney bought like Star Wars and they said everything was going to be connected, like there was a part of me that was like, okay, but like how connected are they really going to make it? Because it kind of seems like some of the books aren't as heavy hitting as they should be, and the Jedi games like feel like they're circumventing a lot of stuff. But if they like built the Jedi Survivor Fallen Order franchise very much into a lot of other characters' storylines, I'd be pretty happy about that story kind of getting its flowers elsewhere.
I just had a thought. What if, and I know that the timing, like they'd have to like really sit down and flush out like how it is, but like, what if like, because we've talked about like the path and how you can use that as like
an anthology series,
kind of not even just that. You can like kind of use it as like in canon retconning for people who have disappeared, and like, oh, why weren't they around? Like, oh, because they used to. What if after, obviously, Cal would have to go through his adventure that you play in the games. What if Tanalorr is like the destination of the path? Like that's where they're shepherding.
That's kind of what I think
to get away
makes the most sense, right? Because it is really hard to get to. So it would make sense if that's where that's the end of the journey, right? And if Quinlan has been helping people along the path, and Tanalorr is that like final spot for them. Well, it kind of makes exactly. Which is why I'm kind of like, and then who knows? Maybe the Jedi are rebuilding on Tanalorr this entire time. And if what we talked about last week about how the Force like slows down time there, maybe there's this whole emergence of Jedi that are like could be around post Resistance. Who knows? I mean,
still kind of the same age, or that they were when we lost them.
You know, I think we had this whole thing with like when Peridia got introduced, and we were like, wow, this is kind of like outside the galaxy, right? Like we've uncharted territory for Star Wars. What if a lot of these characters just go to a different galaxy, and that ends up being like
we talked about that.
It's a good way to explain why some people aren't around. I'm fine with that. Like it just
like we left the galaxy.
Just tell compelling stories. That's all I'm asking for at this point. Like make it make sense for sure. But like, I mean, that's what I want.
I know a lot of people, because it was kind of Avengers Endgame was such a big thing that like they needed to fill it with everything they needed to fill it in. But I'm one of the ones that was totally okay with Captain Marvel's explanation being as to why she wasn't around. Was like, yo, there's a lot of other galaxies out there. Yeah. And unfortunately, they don't all have the Avengers. Like I liked that. I know a lot of people were just like, oh, that's such a throwaway line. But it's like, no, like, yo, like she's the strongest person in the universe. Like she wants to help. Like, so she's been helping out other universes that would take her super far away. from what's been going on here. She's also just like, oh shit, I didn't know this was happening. I was other places brokering peace between planets. So it's just like, if that's the explanation, like, oh, Grogu went to Tantalor, Omega went to Tantalor, and I totally forgot about the Quinlan Voss thing. I feel like that's an easy layup, that if you do have some type of epilogue thing, you could have like a scene where, like I said, maybe Omega gets out of this only by herself. Maybe she does get Crosshair and Batcher, or maybe like a smaller remnants of the batch, and they're like living on a farm somewhere hidden. And you could have, like you said, like an epilogue scene where maybe Asajj tracks them down. Is just like, hey, like, are you guys tired of like living on the run? Like I got a place. Like I can keep you guys safe, or maybe that'll, because I know like timeline wise she can't have that conversation right now. Like, hey, I know a place, because Cal's still like a kid right now. But if we do get like a 4 or 5 years later, and they get an unexpected visitor, shit, or maybe even like a Cal cameo, like, hey, you know, like, or like they stumble into the way or whatever. But yeah, Quinlan being a part of that, and him and Asajj being together, I feel like that's super easy, believable, and I like that a lot. That she would be like, that's kind of like I won't really call it a redemption arc for her, because she is what she is, and she knows what she is. She even says it in this episode. She was like, I'm a lot of things, but I'm not. But your enemy isn't one of them. I loved that line. That was a really great line. Great line. Might have been my favorite line of the whole episode. Yeah, might have been my favorite line of the whole episode. But yeah, like her being kind of like a Fennec Shan, like, hey, I'm out for number one, like, but basic human decency, I'll help when I can, like type time situation. If she's like, hey, I know that there's some things going on, there's a lot of people a lot like you who are like trying to get away from the Empire, like, we got this thing. Maybe Omega joins the path, and she's like one of the people that helps. I would shepherd people. But I also think maybe she leaves. Like, let's say the batch doesn't go down in a blaze of glory at the end of the series, which is where I feel like it's heading. That's been my like. I'm ready to be emotionally devastated. But at the same time, if they do make it out alive, and it's just like Omega being with them is this constant threat, and it's a very like. It's a grown-up decision for her to make, where it's like, I want to be with my family, but I'm going to go with Asajj to keep them safe. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like, especially that personal sacrifice. No, that I like that a lot, because kind of like with Asajj saying, and I know this line wasn't meant to mean anything, but it makes sense. Like Asajj saying like, oh yeah, like clearly you guys aren't normal. Like they stand out. Like if you're on the run, being with Wreckers doesn't help you hide very well. So it's like I could see like them being on some like, at the end of the day, reflecting back to that conversation with Asajj, and maybe kind of like the other side of that, like, dang, like, yeah, if she decides she wants to do this, it's going to take her away from us. Maybe that's the best thing for her, to be away from us, because like as long as we're together, they're always going to look for us together, and we're not that hard to find. Like, so like I would like that a lot, if that was like the sacrifice that they make, like if they don't die, if they're like, hey, like we can't keep you safe because you're easier to find if you're with us. Yeah, it's like, because everybody's fine. Everybody can find us. Like, and it is sad hard to find. And it like ultimately, like if that's what happens, it's like it's just to keep everybody safe. It's like, you know, and I think that like you have to have as a viewer, there's like a level of respect for like from a storytelling standpoint that like all of these characters are doing what's best for their family. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like one of those things where, I mean, how many times do we say to each other as like a podcasting team, is like, take care of yours first? Well, they are taking care of each other by making like that type of decision. Since we've brought him up a couple times, were you surprised not to see Quinlan with Asajj? I did think when I also might have had a fake memory in my head that I thought I saw him in like the trailer work, like the sizzle reel before the show started, but I might have just made that up in my head. Some excitement, right? Some like my brain implanted. Yeah, seeing her. Yeah, seeing her, I was like, oh, he's there too. Like, but yeah, I was very surprised. But again, like we said at the start of this episode, how this episode played out, even though I did like the episode, it was like, did not expect that to be how they used Asajj. I will say one thing that I do find funny. Two things actually that I do find funny. And this is just one I will say is nitpicky. I did find it interesting that when they did their confirmation that is Asajj Ventress, that like the big thing that concerned them was that she was an assassin, not that she was a whole fucking Sith apprentice. like that was Count Dooku's whole apprentice. Not like, yo, like she was a Sith. Yeah. Like, no, this is an issue, bro. Like, and we're running from the Emperor, and she's a whole former Sith. Not like, oh, like she used to be an assassin. Like, I just thought that was strange because I feel like that would be the red flag. Like, oh, she was like not just an assassin for, because Fennec. You get that explanation goes to like a Fennec thing, like, oh shit, she's an assassin. Don't care who she works for. Like we can't trust her. But for that to be the concern for them when you have a former Sith apprentice like at your doorstep and you're literally running from the Emperor, to have that not be the thing. This is like, oh, she used to be one of them. Like I thought that was gonna be the conversation.
Not to talk shit on Tech, but his file definitely wasn't up to date because she was pardoned by the Republic for helping like with the whole Quinlan situation. So like technically she receives that pardon and she's not an enemy of the Republic or the Jedi for that matter. But she ultimately pays the price of, with her life as far as we knew right now.
So we thought.
So yeah, I like how she said, I have a few more lives left, like a cat. But we'll have to see what the second thing answer is, right? So it should be interesting.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the second thing that I thought was funny, and it might be because she had to work with what she was given at the time to test her for M count. I do find it really hard to believe that's the training method the Sith used for training their apprentices, like putting a fruit on their head. Like, all right, let's see if you're worthy. Like,
but it was like, so in the Clone Wars, she has flashbacks, right, of her Jedi master who found her as, like she was a slave, and then her slave master gets killed in like some sort of pirate raid, and a Jedi finds her. And he trains her out in the wild. She never goes to the temple for formal training, and then he gets killed by pirates later.
She's like, what's her face off of Ahsoka? Can't remember what her name is.
Shin Hati. She's
baby Shin with the eye.
Yeah, well, they were like Balin refers Ezra as a Boken Jedi, a Jedi trained in the wild.
That's the term. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, okay. I haven't watched Clone Wars outside of the final season because obviously it came out a couple years ago. But I haven't watched Clone Wars in years, since it came out originally. So I forgot about
Clone Wars as often as possible.
There we go.
It's amazing.
There you go. It is. Tis it is. All right. So then my second point, totally null and void.
Hey, that's what I'm the human holocron. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, facts. But maybe, and again, this might be just trying to shoot bail for the Bad Batch because I love this show so much. Maybe because it's like if Tech was alive, it would have had an updated file. Yeah. Maybe maybe because that was his.
You're
that was his
under
Steve,
the wrong
so
file structure, Rekka. I keep my post.
It's filed under S for Sith.
I keep my post Imperial files on this desktop.
Facts. Again, that might be giving way too much credit.
Who was looking it up. So.
Yeah. So that might be me giving the writers' room way too much credit, but I guess having lost their intel person, they wouldn't have the best intel.
No, for sure. I did see an interesting. I wish I usually grab someone's @ when I see, but I saw an interesting thing on Twitter. Someone was like, it was interesting that the writers chose to keep Echo out of this episode because Echo was one of the only clones to quote unquote witness Asajj's she's on Kamino assassinating clones left and right in one arc of the Clone Wars, and Echo happens to be at that battle. So it is an interesting omission from the plot. However, that being said, I think we've always known that Echo is going to be more on Rex's side of things this season. Not, so
I mean, that's he kind of, and that's and you know, back to the Clone Wars and rewatch the Clone Wars as much as you can. Like Echo was a reg.
Yeah.
Like at one point, he joins the Bad Batch, but he wasn't a part of the Bad Batch. He was a reg. So of course, like, you know, creature of habit. And now that, because I feel like with Echo, that makes sense that he would be with Rex more, because A, he was a reg. B, what the Bad Batch was doing when he was like fully with the Batch, like what they were doing, no other clone force was kind of like on that crusade at that time. So it's just like, yeah, like this team is getting shit done and helping. But then once Rex finally starts coming around and helping, more clones start like, hey, clone liberation and all that stuff, it would make sense. Like, oh, hey, like they're in on it now. Oh, cool. All right, let me help. Let me be that bridge between, you know, us as the Batch and like the regs and stuff, like the liaison. It's nice having for the Bad Batch. Like, let me do that. So
via his character, I kind of wish he was around a little more, but hey, it is what it is. Like, you know, and we're only getting 3 seasons of this, so I'll take what I can get. That being said, I do have a couple Easter eggs. Was there anything else you wanted to cover off on? I think I made my points about some very fluid fist fighting combat. I do like that she's able to take them on with relative ease.
Oh yeah, that fight scene was fire. Yeah. I liked that fight scene a lot. And just when she took their guns, she's like, no cheating.
She's like toying with them. And I love how they're like, we've taken out worse, and she was like, so have I. that was just like, she's a great character. I forgot how much I enjoyed Asajj Ventress until this episode.
I would not an Easter egg, but again, I often try to find places where I can celebrate the it wouldn't be the writing team. What do you prefer to someone like who can? I guess the computer animation team. I guess,
the animators or lighting. There's. I know that there's like a lighting team. Yeah. There's the animation team itself. But so many things go into it. Yeah, but go ahead. Like I'll try and give the flowers to the right department.
The Pixar team, allegedly, like the computer animators that make the show visibly watchable. I had given them their flowers before when we were talking about the Snow Planet episode, where they kept like the on point trail of the worm, like each direction. Animated shows always have a funny thing with hair and water, like when it's computer animated, but I really liked how they actually made Omega and Asajj's hair. Like when they were underwater, it was disheveled. It was like, it was up. Like it actually was like obeying the laws of gravity while underwater. And then when they came up, it didn't just like go back to how it was before they got in the water, which is typically what happens in animated shows.
Maybe a weird thing to say, but I actually preferred her hair when it was like slicked back like that.
Yes, Asajj's hair when it was. Yeah, I thought that was fire. Really cool.
I was like, why is this a better character design than what she's got going on? Maybe they'll update it. Maybe they'll hear about it and they'll be like, all right, she's slicking her hair back now.
I had the same exact thought, which is what made me want to bring that up.
Have you ever seen fucking "O Country, Where Art Thou"? I know. Okay. Right. Well, she's a Dapper Dan man or woman.
You know the pomade, pomade, and but so they don't try to cook you in the comments. It's "Oh brother, where art thou?" You said "Oh country, where art thou?"
You're so right. I'm just not firing on all cylinders today.
It's been a week. It's been a week, bro. It's been a week.
Listen, everyone can roast me if they want. That's fine.
Little Rogue One fun fact. I have seen that movie an ungodly amount of times.
I haven't watched it in years. We gotta get together. Let's watch it soon.
Yeah, me neither. I'm down, bro. I'm down. Get a couple brewskis and watch "Oh Brother, We're Out There." I'm down, bro.
Yeah, we make our plans on the podcast. You can't stop us.
Yeah, I mean, coming to you live from the Zoom where it happens. That used to be my tagline when we used to record on Zoom before Riverside came into our life. Not here, previous podcast.
All right. Well, let me dive into these Easter eggs.
I did also.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. The delay. They got us again.
I was just going to say, No, yeah, you good, bro. I was just gonna say, just in regards to just the water scene, I really fucked with that turtle monster thing. I thought that thing
It was a cool
dope,
creature,
bro. And I do find it humorous that tentacles is like the go-to boss fight in the Star Wars universe. Like anytime they want to like cause a be like, oh shit, this shouldn't be fucked with, let's give it tentacles.
The Dianoga, the Rathtar, this thing. I'm really mad at myself because I had it pulled up at like the Star Wars databank. It's really good about updating whenever there's like new creatures and stuff like that. But I closed out of it. So it starts with a V, but I can't remember what the name of the creature is. It was new. I thought I recognized it from Star Wars Resistance actually, but this is the first time it showed up. Just another creature that was similar.
Yeah, thought it was cool. Thought it was very cool. Because it reminded me of them really big old snapping turtles that people be finding sometimes. I think the alligator snapping turtle, which is like that's a fucking dinosaur. Like just call it what it is. It's a dinosaur. it's a dinosaur that made it. Like that made.
I'm
it
all
through.
for kaiju monsters showing up in Star Wars. That's fine. We can.
Yeah, nah, for sure.
We can have big monsters every week.
Hashtag tentacles.
Yeah.
Hashtag tentacles. Name of this episode.
People are going to think we're talking about
look, you I was just about to say, I guarantee you that we're going to get a lot of clicks off that title
because
name.
of the title.
That's going to be our Annie, Are You Okay equivalent to Super Saiyan show.
Get your mind out of the gutters. It's not like you come here for not safe for work Star Wars takes.
Right. Keep it in your pants, nerds.
Or don't. Whip out your willy and listen to Annie, Are You Okay?
Yeah. Whip out the flesh lightsaber, baby.
$1 million idea.
We're going to revolutionize the adult industry, bro.
When you insert it, it actually goes...
Yeah, the humming noise.
That's not vibration.
Instead of it sounding like a vibrator. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
Set your phasers for stun, baby.
We could go on for days. Let's do the Easter eggs.
We could.
So
give it to me, Daddy.
Asajj's character model is an updated version of an unused concept from scrapped episodes of the Clone Wars. It is just like she has this outfit, but her hair being present was supposed to be seen in Clone Wars. Originally, the Clone Wars season 7. Now season 7 no longer includes the Dark Disciple arc, which was going to be her final batch of stories in the Clone Wars. You can read that book, which is 8 episodes adapted so the episodes were written by Katie Lucas, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the author's name, but I have listened to the audiobook. It's a very good time. Highly recommend it if you're a big fan of Asajj and want to know how her Clone Wars story ended. And apparently they're not breaking canon with everything, so should be good there.
So they say.
And then Asajj's final appearance in the novel Dark Disciple had her killed off. Her return remains a mystery at this time. I think that it's just kind of one of those things where there's part of me that's kind of hoping that Tales of the Jedi just does Dark Disciple as like a miniseries. Like I'm fine if season 2 of Tales of the Jedi is just Dark Disciple. That'd be great. We'll see. I think the fans...
Nah, I would fuck with
the
that.
fans of Star Wars, animation specifically, are ready for streaming movies. And it doesn't have to be a show every time. Just give us a movie.
I know because of the cultural impact. I don't think anyone predicted like how big Mandalorian was going to become, like how like ingrained in the culture that show was going to like become very fast. So I get with that, you kind of have to put that movie in the theaters because it's like supposed to be a big spectacle. But had it not caught fire the way it would have, that movie I feel like would have been perfect for just Disney Plus. It was just like an extended episode
direct to DVD. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like Aladdin 2 straight to VHS. Fucking Dark Disciple. Put it on Disney Plus, please.
Aladdin 2, trash. Aladdin 3, fire. And I'm 1000% watching Aladdin and the King of Thieves tonight. I'm going to get extremely high.
And you're going to watch that turtle turn to gold.
I am. I damn sure am. Open Sesame.
Dude, it is a super underrated sequel to Disney.
Bro, I highly remember the rollout of that movie, like with the McDonald's toys and everything. That was like an event, bro. Like Aladdin 3, that was like a thing. Cause like two went straight to video, and like you said, it I don't hate Aladdin 2 as much as other people do, but like as I get older, once I watched it again as an adult, because I feel like you know what the mark of true adulthood is as a kid, we fall victim to recency bias with everything. We always just make the sequel. Oh, 2 was better than 1 because like we're kids. Like as a kid, Secret of the Ooze was everybody's favorite Ninja Turtles
really
movie.
Good.
And then as an adult, it is. It's not as bad as the. I mean, it's 1 and 2 are considerably better than 3. But as a kid, when they went back in time, Turtles in Time, Ninja Turtles 3 is the best. Like typically as a kid, you like shit in reverse, like whichever the newest one is, it's like you say it's the best. But then like as an adult, you're like, oh nah, Aladdin 2 sucked. But as a kid, you're like, what? Iago is a friend now? This is crazy.
I think that Aladdin,
like when he turned good, when
he's really underrated. But
yeah, you feel me? You know, I'm ready for that. I'm ready for the Blu-ray release of that. Did we? Was there more Easter eggs?
No,
did we even start the Easter eggs?
Easter eggs. That was it for me. There weren't a lot this week for me to point out. I guess another Easter egg is that I have no idea where this Jedi or where this like lightsaber hilt came from, because it looks a lot like her old lightsaber hilt, but it's not her old lightsaber.
Yeah,
hilt.
I was gonna say,
and there's a specific design that she had for a lightsaber that was repurposed and used as Darth Maul's second half in the Siege of Mandalore. So it's like, quote unquote, no longer her design. So I don't know where this lightsaber came from. However, that being said, I hope they explain it, because it does not look like her Sith lightsabers. It's very close, but it's not the same.
Yes, it's still got like the Dooku arc. Wasn't Asajj was a dual wield
curved
right?
lightsabers?
So was
that connected?
So do we think that she just didn't feel it necessary to use both sabers on the batch? Because like, no,
I think she switched to using one.
Did she now?
And I also feel like using one is like a more of a defensive type thing, or it's like she doesn't feel like
I can see it. Yeah, I can see how using 2, like it kind of forces you to be an offensive fighter, because it's like you not only have to be mindful of swinging them around 1 and not cutting yourself, you're whipping around 2 of those things. You gotta be super locked in, not to chop your own shit off by accident.
For sure.
Well,
Matt, that was it. That was our Bad Batch recap of episode 9, was it? 9? 10?
We're flying through these episodes. How many
10.
Do we have left?
5, if 10 is right. It was the Harbinger. I remember the name of it this week, which is great for me.
Yeah.
But not for our.
Because I remember in our. No, you're good, bro. I'll fill the air.
It was episode 9.
I remember.
So we have
prediction.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. 6 episodes left.
Yeah, I wonder. Pacing wise, because we still know that they have to go. I'm just gonna call it the Armadillo, because I don't know what else that giant tank is called.
Oh, the Juggernaut.
So for lack of a name, till they give us one. There you go, the Juggernaut. We know we still have that. We know that Endgame is probably storming Tantus, not Tantus. Tantus, not Tantus. Tantus, it is. Yeah, I was thinking of the Cal Custis planet. I was like, wait,
there's Tanlor, Tantus.
Tans. So too many Tans. Tangrams for our kindergartners that might be listening.
Don't know why your parents, which you might find on this podcast, because we don't know how to stay on track, but we always bring it back.
There you go. There you go. But we know we got that from the sizzle reel. I'm pretty sure we saw Finnick on that thing. Cad Bane. We still got Cad. Wasn't Finnick on? Like when I feel like because they show the Juggernaut in 2 parts. In the one part, I know you pointed out
ship at one point. I'm not sure if Fennec is also there. She might be.
Right. Yeah, I thought in the like one of the, because I know there's 2 Juggernaut scenes. I can just always go back and watch the trailer, and I know like the one, it seems like where they're like on the ground. I thought I saw her there, because I know in the one when they're on the cliff, you see Crosshair, and that's when we were like, oh, he's back with the badge. We had like seen that or whatnot. But I guess my question lost my question, but I found it again. With only 6 episodes left, I would imagine that they're gonna have to start like shotgunning this at one point. You know what? I think I figured out why this episode was very strange to me. It doesn't really move the story forward at all. And it's just like, we don't have a lot of episodes left. So it's like, are we just going to get oh shit, the Empire found them on the island and now like, oh,
did we get backdoor piloted? We gotta be on the offensive now? What happened? Was this the backdoor?
Maybe.
The backdoor pilot for the next Lucasfilm animation project? It could be.
It might be, but yeah, I think, you know what, like talking it out now, I think that is why I walked away, because like I remember when the episode ends, because I'm not going to like when at the last couple frames of the episode, I did get like semi distracted for like a quick second, and I thought I had missed something, because like her just flying off and then cutting the credits, I was like, I had to rewind it, because I was like, oh shit, did I miss a part?
That was it.
I was like, here's the credits. I was like, sorry. Yeah, and I was just like, that was it? I was like, that was a weird way to end this episode. It was a beautiful shot, and they've used that shot many a times, like the flying off into the sunset. We see that at the end of Empire, you know, Millennium Falcon flying off, and Luke and Leia being incestual and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I was just like, outside of for real, other than, you know, I won't go as far as to say that this episode was fan servicey, but it didn't move the story forward.
I think the big revelation was simply that the batch now knows what M count means, and that
which I feel like that could have been a conversation within an episode that didn't need to be a whole episode.
And I guess like there could be like secrets being held, like maybe Hunter and Crosshair decide not to tell Omega that she has the Force sensitive like potential, which could be a plot line. Yeah. So we'll have to see how things play out.
The more you say things, the more I'm kind of gripping why this felt a bit like a tad askew from the rest.
It's so
of
weird because like I still really enjoyed the episode. It just felt.
I did too.
Felt slightly out of place.
I did too. Yeah, like I literally was sitting on the end of my bed watching the episode. Like I said, I thought I missed something, so I rewinded back like 20 seconds, watched it again, and I was like, huh. I was like, I really enjoyed that episode, but like it was just like, this feels misplaced. You know what it was? If it felt like us. Let me think of my wording here. The whole episode felt like it could have just been a plot thread inside of a different episode.
Yeah.
Like it could have been like a larger episode and that was also happening in it, but it was just like that was the whole focus of the episode, which felt strange. Because I feel like the Bad Batch does that really well. They'll have like their main focus of the episode, like, all right, this episode's about this, but then because it is an ensemble show, they'll have like side storylines that are still touching the main story of that episode, but it's kind of over here. Like with we still got the fucking the damn assassin clone that we don't know the identity of. Like there's a lot of things that still have to be addressed.
I very much am of the thought process that they don't bring people or characters into the fold unless they're going to have some sort of impact later. It could be explained. Could be explained
Asajj is coming back
away as just like maybe the character we got was Hauser, right? The clone from Ryloth. But like the Syndulas kind of owe the Bad Batch a little bit. Like I could see them getting tapped in somewhere. Maybe not Hera, but maybe that's maybe this is how Hera's mom dies, right? Is a part of the end of the show.
Yeah, you said the Syndulas. I was thinking of the Dragon People. What are the Dragon People called again?
The Dragon People?
Like the ones that had the horn?
I think that they're like done, but the Durand They're oh my god, Daveronians. That's why you're thinking dragon.
That's the one.
They look like devils, right?
Yeah, because they look like dragons to me. But yeah, with the horns. No, but that'd be cool. I mean, I'd be here for that. A Hera cameo, or like just the Syndulla's period and whatnot, what have you, because they're floating around, like whatnot, what have you. But there's a lot that a lot of loose ends to be tied up, or a lot of revelations to be had. Just thought of something, and then we can like wrap this up. Them going radio silent on like Clone X, like him not being like oh, let's let the people forget about him. I'm really scared that that's Tech now, like him not having been in the last couple episodes, so that way when he does come back it's like, oh shit, I feel like they're waiting for that pop, like that oh shit moment or whatnot, what have you. Because I was like, that I would have thought that whole little tribunal of shadow clones, they kind of seemed like out that one episode that they were gonna be like a kind of a reoccurring thing, and now it just kind of seems like they're saving them for like the final fight, which is cool. But again, them trying to make us forget about them makes me fear that is
if it is him.
So
it's,
like,
I mean, it's not the same
back.
clone that took the fall, right? Like it's definitely like
ultra
conditioned to the point where it's like he's not even himself.
He can't come back. Yeah, I feel like the masochist in me, I would infinitely enjoy it being Tech if he can't be saved. I'd be fine with that. Like if he's too far gone, and like that's, and we talked about that, like maybe that's the thing that Crosshair isn't telling the boys, the batch, that we know that Crosshair was experimented on, went through the thing and whatnot. Even that, weirdly enough, I don't think he had a shaky hand this episode, and it's a thing that's typically made sure that they like, oh hey, he's going through some PTSD.
He has been working on it with Omega,
he was straight,
like through like the meditation. So maybe
I know, like
but like that's still a quick thing to fix, right?
But that's why I had brought that up with the meditation. I felt that with the meditation, they were gonna have him kind of like go into a mental state and like to address the trauma that's making him have the shaky hand, and maybe we get like a glimpse of him and Tech being experimented on at the same time, maybe like kind of like a foggy dream that he thinks is a nightmare type of situation or whatever. But if Tech can't be saved, I'm fine with him being Shadow Clone X. But I don't need no like the remember who you are. Like I don't need that.
I think I'm okay with that type of thing happening if like multiple characters die shortly after, where it's like, okay, he comes back, but only to just, it's like he saves them,
kill everyone.
Like in his like moment of clarity, he's just like, oh shit, presses a button, explosion. Like
yeah. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that. Like we were talking about, I know in our early predictions, like we could see like the batch making a sacrifice play, like get out of here. Maybe they have to, like you said, blow up Tantus. Like maybe that's they can't save who we can save and then blow this bitch up so it can't happen to nobody else. Maybe Tech gets the detonator off of him, and in his moment of clarity, they're like, do it, like, and then he's just like, all right, for the batch.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I think that would actually be pretty rewarding in terms of like, them going out in like a blaze of glory, if that's how it's going to happen. But yeah,
I feel like you have to. I feel like that's Clone Force 99. Like they burn hot. They're the Phillies, baby. They burn hot.
I mean, Wrecker likes to blow stuff up because Wrecker likes to blow stuff up.
Yeah, it is. And that came up, and I feel like Wrecker. And again, damn, you every time I think we about to like wrap it up, you bring up something again. And I'm like, oh shit, Wrecker hasn't blown shit up in a long time. I don't remember the last time he got to like blow something up.
He got to cheer
Maybe
for the
they're
cadets
saving
who blew stuff up. That was
exactly. But But you know, they brought that up, and 2 episodes ago, Finnick was like, "Hey, I heard you like to blow stuff up," like or whatever. Like they had that like mini conversation. So, I wonder if like the absence of him blowing shit up is for him to be able to get that
big boom,
that final Wrecker likes to blow shit up.
In the words
play.
of Jar Jar,
Like,
big boomba, huge Ochi. I think that's what he says in the Phantom Menace.
There you go.
All right, Matt. We're
go.
officially going to close this one out. So go ahead and take the Animaniacs home.
Yes.
Oh, I guess before you do that, I'm sorry. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at the letters A and IR. You okay? _pod. I think it's actually is there an underscore?
It's been a week.
Christ, I'm the mess. Annie, are you okay?
No, DB4L _ pod is the underscore.
Podcast. Read your Matt and Trav talk about all things Dragon Ball anime related. They're doing a fun series right now where they're calling out
life.
Huge fans who have contributed to the zeitgeist of Dragon Ball. And right now they're focusing on the new heir apparent.
Good word.
In their current, or like I guess their first foray into actually making Dragon Ball content. So, Matt,
yes,
I'll hand it off to you, and you can go ahead and close this one out.
I got you. All right, Animaniacs. You know it could be Jeremy Piven. It could be Jeremy Iron. It could be Jeremy Borash. It could be our guy, Jeremy, who gets his contractually obligated one shout out per episode. I had to figure out a way to get him in there. Or we do love Jeremy. Or it could be Ray. Life can be a beach, but as long as there's no sand, you guessed it, Annie gonna be okay.
Be okay. May the force be with you, Matt.
And with you. Later.
Deuces.